Sponsored by Skillshare.
No, hot one! No!
Damn it! Just when I was about to get some!
You can Jekyll, but you can't hide. The 7th generation was graphically one of the ugliest eras in gaming. Monochrome shooters that are neither realistic or stylized enough to look appealing. It's the muddy dirt field before entering the uncanny valley. But there was more to the Xbox 360. I'm talking strange and colorful games. It's Juice and Jam time.
A new opponent is ready to face you.
Win one fight and you might as well face it. You wanna have fun and we wanna get wasted.
A 2-liter bottle of Shasta and my all-rush mixtape. Let's rock.
When we end,
Now, GRR brings you news tailored to your attention span. This just in. Cougars need love too, so why the stigma? GRR will give you the scoop later in this broadcast.
Republican Party, Democratic Party. Like all intellectuals who waste their vote, I go third party. Party games, that is. It's Hail to the Chimp.
Hail to the chimp, baby.
A presidential minigame collection that will decide who shall rule the animal kingdom. According to this actual Wall Street Journal article, the game features candidates like Torshiro, the samurai octopus, or Santo, the armadillo cum artist. Cum artist? I'm not cultured in high art. Is that like a reference to something? I'm too afraid and too vanilla to look that up myself. Don't get too excited, as most minigames simply involve collecting clams, which act as votes. Collect the most clams. Collect clams and stuff them into your ballot box, which is fraud. Collect the Dirty Tricks clam and go make some headlines. 2 trips to each newscat wins? Huh? Mudsling your clams at your opponent's cardboard cutout. Here you got this percentage ticking down, and other characters instead have some timer? What? Yeah, some of these are a bit confusing and are just variants of the same game. Like sometimes you're not told how many clams you're holding beyond a brief pop-up when you hit a certain amount. I guess they thought it'd be confusing to show how many you're holding and how many you got banked, which is your score. You know what's more confusing? Having no idea if I'm holding any clams at all. In the mode where a timer goes up for someone who has the most clams, you can't see how many anyone's carrying. How far is someone in the lead? How many did I lose after getting hit? Should I pick up a few on the side to catch up, or risk the bigger crowds for way more? It's all a mystery. On the one hand, you can't really strategize. On the other, you just gotta keep collecting clams regardless. You gotta win, and these future presidents are going down. This one's for you, Jodie Foster.
Brave words from a brave animal who'll probably be waiting tables this time next week.
In these 4-player free-for-alls, one of the more creative abilities is to team up in the middle of a match. 2 rivals can create an invincible super move, like one player curls into a ball and the other pogos on top, stomping on everyone. You both have to point to the right direction to move and smash. Another special has an octopus tentacle stretch, while anyone who crosses them gets destroyed. Of course, once you finish teaming up, you can turn on each other. There's plenty of ways to screw each other over.
I am swept away on a
That's what you get for not hailing to the chimp.
With the construction paper cutout style and the chowder textures, this looks like no other 3D game. But with no outlines, I struggle to tell what's going on. There's times where my candidate gets knocked out and I just can't tell where they respawned from. Hail to the Chimp is a fun game that just lacks clarity or proper instructions. So you have traps that contain you for an ungodly amount of time, such as this box that held me in place for 15 seconds. Imagine putting your controller down for 15 seconds in a hectic game like this, where every second matters. Though, of course, the AI can break out of this in a third of the time. Apparently, you're supposed to rock back and forth gently, rather than button mashing. What is this, a Chinese finger trap? What is this, the sword from that Arthur episode at the medieval fair? What is this, a woman's placenta? How was I supposed to know to be gentle in a specific manner? The only instructions I get is this still image of an analog stick. This tells me nothing. Do I click on it? I don't understand.
It's pandemonium down here, and there was no pun intended there, so all you pandas who like to complain can just stuff it.
Santo is way out front. Everyone else is a loser.
You You'd think a team of former Bungie/Halo programmers could make a more understandable multiplayer game. When production began, Chimp was going to follow a traveling animal rock band in space, but a political theme fit better. Often games are written by whoever's on staff, but here they seeked out writers from The Onion and The Daily Show, even though this game is very apolitical and it's just about animal issues.
One more question. Where do you stand on eating one's young?
Huh?
The platypus is the only mammalian egg layer, and while your species doesn't eat its young, some egg layers do.
I don't believe in snacking on your wee ones, unless you've got a darn good reason.
Thanks, Daisy.
Thank you, Juliet. I love you.
They tried getting the comedian Emo Phillips on board, but his agent declined. Hail to the Chimp is formatted like a CNN broadcast with a mentally concerning amount of cutscenes. This channel, GRR, offers an hour's worth of reports and fake commercials.
Thorny girls are the thorniest hedgehogs around, and they're waiting to talk to you. So, call now.
I'm waiting.
Spot on. Apply directly to the scent gland. Spot on. Apply directly to the scent gland.
Because it's everywhere.
Because the ground is there.
It keeps growing and 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 growing grass.
This message brought to you by Prey for the ethical treatment of prey.
This even had a promotional website full of those, but none of that is archived as this game remains forgotten. Many reviewers back then gave this average scores, with IGN stating, "This was the reason nobody votes anymore." But look, most reviews for games are played alone in a dark room full of empty water bottles, so it's gotta be better with friends, right? Might be worth a try.
At the end of it all, I'm shocked, shaken, and yet strangely pleased. Mostly with myself. Until next time, this is Woodchuck Chumley for GRR News.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
But first, do you struggle with your art? Is explaining your cartoon idea to other people difficult or embarrassing? That don't apply to me, and there's zero recorded evidence of that. Well, my sponsor Skillshare can really help. They offer classes on so much: logo design, video effects, After Effects, but I recommend this course on creating a pitch Bible by Ian J.Q., the creator of OKKO. He worked on everything from Adventure Time to Venture Bros. Learn what the standards are for presenting your idea to a network. There's more to learn on Skillshare, like creative confidence and silencing your inner critic. It's good to consider how to improve, but sometimes you gotta take pride in what you made so far. If you want to further your creativity, become a Skillshare member. Act quickly. The first 1,000 people to use the link below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Support me by supporting them. Join today.
Ready to see him launch off the world's tallest triple falls. Something tells me these gnarly dudes have done this before. 3, 2, 1, go! Shut down.
Oh great, gotta bust out the Kinect for this one. At a time when the world was hyping up the Wii's motion controls, the Xbox promised the next level: no physical controls. The Kinect was this glorified webcam that became the fastest selling consumer electronic device of its time. Everyone bought it, then quickly realized, yeah, this kinda sucks. Navigating a menu or controlling a character is like swinging your hands underwater. Your moves become a laggy mouse cruiser. To demonstrate, what I'll be playing tonight is Adrenalin Misfits, or Crossboard 7 in other territories.
Adrenalin Misfits! Who's taking the glory today? Yeah!
This is not a snowboarding game, it's crossboarding, which I thought was a real sport, like people shred on sand, right? But no, I'm just being gaslit again. Crossboarding does not exist. Either way, you got the typical modes: racing, trick, collecting. The game knows the Kinect was a piece of crap. That's why all the tracks are wide open, have light turns. Oh, and these rails you gotta grind on are less like rails and more like benches. Look at this. Jesus had his last supper on this rail.
Righteous!
Are you in the middle of a flip and are about to land upside down? Well, you'll still land perfectly.
Wait steady!
It's a basic game that works within the limits of the webcam. Now, I have not played Sonic Freeriders on Kinect, mainly because that costs money, but from the footage, this hoverboard title feels more on rails, is way faster and narrow, more hectic and uncontrollable. Adrenalin Misfits seems like the opposite and actually got better reviews. Yeah! 3 whole points. Misfits is possibly better, but needs work. It struggles to register my sick tricks in my tiny command center. The acceleration is also pitiful. Like, even if you get a turbo from these item pickups, do not touch anyone. A simple tap cancels out your momentum. Now, if you're lucky enough to get bumped into, it's better than any turbo boost. Thanks, I love this purple ice stage since you can just shortcut through all the curves, though some shortcuts are real odd, like this lava straightaway that leads to a jump.
Checkpoint!
You hit the ceiling and have to turn 90 degrees, but you're in the lead now, I guess. Oh, and if you want to cheese the trick missions, just T-pose while jumping 180 degrees over and over. I was about to vomit and pass out for doing this for so long, but I unlocked a new character, so sacrificing my health was worth it.
Holy Jesus. What is that?
What are those things?
They're monsters. They're monsters!
Not monsters.
What is that, Private Pile?
Disgusting. They look like if Steve-O made an NFT. These monkey announcers, Ricky and Ricky Jr., could pass for the profile icon of an alt-right YouTuber. I'm glad I can quickly unlock other less arousing characters like Crystal. A shame I don't want to play it, I'm just here for the visuals.
This diamond dudette plays rough, baby. Crystal!
Damn, Rebecca Sugar was strung up on 5 ukuleles when she designed this one. The 2D assets remind me of Go-Go Hypergrind, Summer Wars, the Digimon movie, and Redline. It's got the looks and the pop punk of a GameCube release. I searched through every designer's name in the credits to find more art by these people, but couldn't find anything. Ooh, even Ippy Gaboo worked on some of the art. Remember them in my colorful Dreamcast vid for Cool Cool Tune, a rhythm game that now has a finished English patch.
Go!
Adrenalin Misfits gives me an Adderall fit. There's cool art, but yeah, maybe if your room was bigger, this could play better. Even the demo video and the intro struggles to drive between these flags. Come on, buddy, you can do this. But you know, fans have modded Sonic Freeriders to emulate with normal controls. Maybe they can salvage this game too.
Finish! You broke your personal record, right on.
We'll be back with more 360s after this.
I'm not kidding.
How'd that happen?
I will bite your chin.
Hey kids, if you're looking to play with a real hero, play with me.
Whoa!
Actually, I just realized what I said there.
I think you're gonna have to register in this neighborhood.
You can edit that in post, right?
You were my passion and my very one and only. I got so sick whenever I cross your mind. And I was so very sad and lonely. That it's Sharon and Buckers I'm not around.
Sometimes an average game can be salvaged by its story or comedy.
No, it can't.
Such as Comic Jumper. The gameplay is constantly changing, but it's mainly a superhero run-and-gun starring Captain Smiley, a wannabe superhero, and his chess logo who constantly mocks him. Both are voiced by Christopher Sabat, notable anime voice actor, as the entire game is randomly filled with Funimation guys for every dub ever made. Funimation's got 5 voice actors, and by golly, they're gonna use them. So after a series of bad comic issues, Captain Smiley must reboot his franchise by guest starring in other book genres. Modern superheroes, Conan-style adventures, 60s Silver Age, and manga! Yes, and manga indeed. Unlike the other stages, the gameplay here scrolls from right to left, though it's from that era of American anime parodies. You know, tentacles, schoolgirls, underwear and vending machines, being random.
All it shoots is rainbow bubbles and smile beams. I need real bullets.
Bullets! Yeah, bullets! I have some somewhere. Here!
I was gonna kill myself with these, but I couldn't find a gun.
Awkward, but awesome!
I'm not sure if school was the most tasteful area for your shooter game. Probably should have avoided creating Hentai? Hentai? And their mascot is a tentacle? Are you for reals?
You're probably just stressed because you're always having to fight the system, you know?
Yeah, or because you're menstruating.
I'm moving on. Let's go to my other favorite stage, the Silver Age, a level that shames extreme violence and swearing due to the comics code. But racial stereotypes were totally fine back then.
There, I meet Future Self, and two of us have many adventure. Most honorable. Is this for real?
We just keep going back to Minority Team, don't we? While you'll mostly be twin-stick shooting, the game will switch between beat-em-up sections, gallery shooters, space shooters, heroin shooters, car shooters, and other shooter variants. It does a little bit of everything, but it doesn't go beyond the basics of those styles, like there's no weapon pickups or new combos to learn. At most, you'll grind for stat upgrades, as your gun is weak. With the constant enemy spam, it's often better to go very slowly and chip away at baddies from afar, because clearly my time is not worth anything. You either do that or grind for upgrades. Some locations are hard to process visually, like your bullets here are nearly invisible against the scrolling background, while certain enemies don't telegraph where they're gonna attack from. By spamming you with the same few gimmicks and mini-bosses, Captain Smiley overstays its welcome as just an adequate shooter. But what kept me going besides my appreciation for being alive on this beautiful Earth is the comedy.
I would love to see a storyline in which she ties up Origami Kid and makes him smell her bare feet. Maybe one of her powers could be that her feet smell bad.
The constant wacky fourth wall breaking is very much like Earthworm Jim, Deadpool, and a bit of Comic Zone. If you're ever surrounded, you got this screen finishing attack to save your ass.
All right, mouth breathers, do your stuff!
Thanks, game developers. Upon beating the stage, you're sent to your hideout. Here you can talk with Smiley's people, take up challenges, buy upgrades, or buy bonus features. There's concept art, 3D models, obscure music not online, video interviews that answer nothing, beta footage, and comic panels that are sadly hard to read. A lot of these even include text descriptions to read. It's a whole damn virtual art book.
Once liberated from the Silver Age, Mistress Ropes found herself drawn immediately towards postmodern feminism. Or possibly individualist feminism. Maybe it was standpoint feminism. Marxism? Anyway, she looks hot. Wives, take note.
Now, spending in-game cash on bonus content may sound wasteful when the stat upgrades are kind of expensive, but the next time you beat a stage, your cash earnings increase by 1 or 2% per bonus content bot, and there's over 200 to collect, so it's actually beneficial for grinding. More games should do that. Look at this bonus. You use in-game currency for DLC stages on the developer's other game, Splosion Man. Plus, you get a 38% earnings increase. Yeah, essentially free DLC at a time when everyone charged real money. Do games still do this? You buy one game and that unlocks content for another?
This here is Mona Lisa.
If you have WarioWare Twisted in your Nintendo DS, that unlocks a music video and WarioWare Touched. By the way, thanks to Gunstar Heroes for getting footage of this in high quality and reading the quotes. Having Twisted Metal Black save data unlocks a clown robot skin for the PS2 fighting game War of the Monsters. Fantastic kaiju fighter I gotta cover sometime. They're both on PS4 and the same unlock method still works.
And I'll crush your friends under my heel.
Please, no more smeary feet. Me no Reiki.
What in the
I love you, let's go to the ocean where we can be free.
With all the personality, Comic Jumper is an obvious passion project released in 2010, yet its star was created 18 years prior. In 1992, Josh Baer was a middle school kid making Captain Smiley strips for his friends. Sticking to his goofy ideas and deranged characters, Josh co-founded Twisted Pixel Games. They made a few smaller titles as they wanted to work their way up to creating the ambitious Comic Jumper, a game doing everything it can to make you laugh while on a budget. There was a lot of cut content, like the art styles themed around ninjas. Girls, Cowboys, Sin City, Powerpuff Girls. There were also plans for a co-op mode where the second player controls a crappy doodle and moves in areas player 1 couldn't, or this tiger boss. The bio states it was going to track you through the level, take out NPCs, and ambush you as you fall down a waterfall shooting in the air, but there was no time, so it just jumps at you. Yeah, the developers are held at gunpoint, forced to write something, anything on all 200 concept pieces. Even the random goons or the green screen actors get one.
Watch in awe as Twisted Pixel CTO Frank Wilson repeatedly doesn't do what he is told. It is a wonder that Frank can program anything at all based on how he takes directions. Well done, Frank. Well done.
Comic Jumper may be frustrating, average, and look like that stupid 3D meme guy, but this was also something I was completely enthralled with. I wish more games had this level of pure, we don't know if this will work, but it's a cool idea, ain't it? All of Twisted Pixel games have that energy, enough for future videos. With so many of those compatible with future Xboxes, you should totally try them out.
Well, as you can tell, by built food, I've got things to do. It was totally fun. I love you and you.
You just shot someone!
That's not time.
So now the task of defending this fortress falls to my apprentice. That's it then. The world is doomed.
I wish I thought better in school.
Now here's a hate crime we can all agree on. Orcs Must Die, name says it all. With a minute-long cutscene, you'll be bent over and thrust into the gameplay. Here's a third-person tower defense game. That means a horde is coming for this portal, and you gotta set up traps to protect it. Many tower defense games from the time were seen from a top-down view, far from the action, but Orcs puts you in the middle of the chaos, armed with a crossbow and spells. You put the camera behind the back of a character, and suddenly, it's psychological. I think, that's me. I'm that guy. I see what he sees, vicariously slaughtering an entire fantasy race. Just like Warhammer if it was easy to get into. Maybe someday. So for each stage you beat, you're rewarded one new trap or spell each time. It's constantly giving you more and more to play with. Spike floors, turrets, explosive barrels, ice spells, and my favorite, the spring traps launching orcs away. It's like a fantasy version of Serious Sam.
So that just happened.
I also equipped the mushroom floor tiles. One step and some ogres will now fight by your side, assuming they don't get insta-killed. I swear it works better when I'm not recording gameplay. I made so many monster friends thanks to those mushroom tiles. It's even giving me flashbacks to when my dorm room shower mat was growing mushrooms, except I only gained more enemies then. It's okay, I got no ill will after the black mold took out most of those guys during senior year. Now who's laughing? Not I, said the cow. I have empathy.
My dignity!
So, I never realized until editing, but despite the endless recycled assets, these castles are a real looker. The fun inflated Warcraft proportions with the strong clash of colors, reds versus purples, the highlights cutting through the floor grates. It's far more neon than most castle-based locations in media. The shading really holds up, unlike the dated one-liners to memes from the 2010s.
Don't crossbow me, bro!
Don't tase me, bro! Winning!
Wow, winning.
Some are saying that you're bipolar.
I'm winning.
Orcs Must Die starts basic, but gets overwhelming in dungeons letting orcs spawn from 2 or 3 separate routes. It may wear you down, but sometimes you'll be treated to the next stage being a single narrow corridor, which is interesting. In general, me and other reviewers have complained about game difficulties fluctuating through a campaign, like shouldn't the game just progressively get more difficult? But here I realize spacing out the hard levels with leisure ones is a good way to keep you playing. And I will. If you ever looked at your game library of unplayed titles you impulse bought because of your undiagnosed issues and think, oh, I want to try something new, but I don't want to sit through a long intro cutscene or tutorial or whatever, then Orcs Must Die is the cure for half those problems. It's on PC and compatible with future Xbox consoles. The only negative is, unlike the sequels, there's no co-op multiplayer. Good thing I got no local friends after the Black Mold, so that covers that.
Yeah!
We'll be back with more 360 no-scopes after this.
Hardcore. Uprising. Mission start.
Here, we got a Contra game by the same Konami publisher, same run and gun action, music, bosses, everything. Except it's simply called Hardcore Uprising. No, it ain't a saucy zombie film, it's literally Contra without the Contra name. Why this was afraid to associate with Contra is confusing, but I expected as much from someone who voted for Reagan. It's like if Capcom made a zombie game called Umbrella Corps. From Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball FighterZ developer Arc System Works comes a shooter with two modes of play, the typical brutal arcade playthrough, or Rising mode, the same game but with minor RPG elements. You start out weak, but can replay stages to buy upgrades, health packs, and special moves. This adds health bars, which sounds sacrilegious to remove one-hit kills. That's like giving Dark Souls an easy mode. Wouldn't that just piss you off? Personally, I don't give a shit. You know what does piss me off? Racial injustice. It's fucked up, I say.
Ooh. Continue. Let's rock. Super machine gun. Warning. Warning.
For Contra, health bars don't mean nothing when you got bottomless pits. It's easier, but it ain't easy. At no point are you safe. You think after slaughtering thousands of goons and surviving 3 bosses, the stage is over. Here's the final cutscene, jumping over a huge gap. It's done. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna...
Game over.
Oh, golly. Gotta start all over again. So, you actually had a jump at the right time. It will not warn you. If you live your life fearing the worst, this game will further corrupt your mental state in the best ways. My therapist is gonna be eating good tonight. It's hardcore, and so is the anime intro by Studio 4C. In just a few seconds without saying a word, they tell you so much about these gunners, motives, and who they are. I rewatch that intro like every few months. It's hype as hell. Did I mention some of the art and music is by Daisuke Ishiwatari of Guilty Gear, that fictional game featured in Grandma's Boy? Now, the cleaner utopian anime locations are a real departure from the apocalyptic cities this series is known for, but that's the point. You see, this was a prequel and was inspired by Contra Hardcore on Genesis. It's another unconventional title that added character select with different arsenals, branching storylines, and 6 alternate endings. Oh, and the Japanese version had health bars and infinite continues, which explains the newer prequel I'm reviewing. There's other one-off experiments in the Xbox game, like protecting an escort or a stealth mission. They're okay, but it's kinda annoying how few checkpoints there are. If you beat a mini-boss, yet die to a minion a short time after, you have to redo the boss.
Sound the alarm! Sound the alarm!
There's some other ideas that work better. Vehicle segments, jump dodges, a run button for those who don't value life, and this reflector weapon. By removing the Contra name, Hardcore was meant to be the start of a new franchise with its own style, and look at all the sequels that came from it. Well, it is a Konami property. That explains how they tried to milk it. You see how the cartoon intro has 4 cool characters and 1 villain? Well, you get to only play as 2. The rest are DLC, $2.50 a piece. They all play the same, give or take different stats. Your only must-buy is Sayura, a swordsman akin to Capcom's Strider. Low range, but crazy damage. It's the opposite of not bringing a knife to a gunfight. If I had a gun and died to a swordsman, I'd double-tap my own corpse out of embarrassment. Sayura is a totally new playstyle worth the price. The others, not so much. Just mild enhancements like not losing a weapon when hit or being faster. The moon's out, so let's wrap this up.
Spread shot.
Time to say goodbye.
Hey, come back here.
It may nickel and dime you, but I'm glad Hardcorp's Uprising often goes on sale and is backwards compatible with future Xboxes. Or, if you hate yourself, buy it on PS3 from the PSN store, assuming that still runs. If Konami didn't turn to crap, we could have had way more games in this spin-off. R.I.P. Contra, you made Ollie North proud.
Let's do this again.
Mission clear. Stupendous.
Blame. Oh. Oh, wow.
Hey, pussy, put away that weak-ass Mario Kart, cause this is Blur on 360 and PS Triple, a racing game for big boys.
Blur, race like a big boy. Rated everyone 10 and up.
What, y'all jack off to cartoons? How about you check out the official Maxim Blur models, where you can win a date with them on the official Maxim website.
Hey guys, want to win a date to play Blur with a Maxim hometown hottie like me? Just go to maxim.com/blur.
Oh man, I gotta get in on that.
I am so desperate to know how that contest ended up. You never would have guessed Blur was really Mario Kart with normal cars. Drive and shoot. That's right, weapon pickups as represented by this official YouTube video demonstrating them via viral videos. It's all about the power-ups. That's what these chicks were dressed as on their shirt. They were not objectified, they were weaponized. And I'm fully armed.
That's awesome.
Racing's not about winning, it's about making friends.
Shut it, Pinky.
The most insane thing is the official Blur YouTube channel by Activision uploaded these videos at 240p. I guess their flip camera SD cards are running out of space. Blur had the most obnoxious marketing campaign. Getting hot chicks to advertise for you is such a desperate attempt to seem cool. Did ya buy a shirt yet? But for how horrid the marketing was, the actual game is the opposite. Imagine Mario Kart without the random. From a distance, you can see what weapons you'll be getting. You got their equivalent of red shells with homing missiles, bananas with landmines. Though the blue shells work differently as lightning. This is not a guaranteed hit for the lead racer though. Instead, blue lightning creates a challenge. Electric fields up front, you gotta zigzag around. It creates a layer of skill that only slows down the weak. Switching up the races are missions, like the battle courses. Here, the timer is always ticking down, but to refill it, you gotta keep shooting more cars. Kill or be killed. Aiming up close is easier, but they'll retaliate with a weapon depending on their color. It's a thrill. For some reason, Blur has no music, which feels almost contemplative. Like, you got cars coming up from behind, a missile is headed your way, your only defense is being able to switch between your 3 weapon slots. Time it right, and you can counter with one of your projectiles. Blur really gave me some of the most gripping moments I ever felt from a game. Me and others have argued this could compete with even the best of the kart genre. But alas, it's a cult classic that was hindered by terrible business choices. It all started with Call of Duty Factory Activision buying up the developer Bizarre Creations, experience with Project Gotham Racing and Metropolis Street Racer, which has the chillest nighttime driving music I'm playing right now, vocals by Teresa Jane Davis, known for Sonic R. According to Bizarre's boss David Hewden, Activision wanted them to make the Call of Duty erasers by micromanaging everything. Designs, branding, locations, features, Blur was focus tested to hell, but Bizarre believed in it and made it as good as it could be, although David mockingly had this to say.
Hey, the kids like Mario Kart, but Gran Turismo is big as well, so let's make Mario Kart with real cars. That's gotta work, right? Yeah, and the kids also like Facebook and urban things and nightclubs and neon stuff, so that's the interface sorted. And Call of Duty multiplayer is huge and it has loadouts and perks, so all multiplayer needs loadouts and perks regardless of genre. Put them in! If it's got those, we'll barely even need to market it or come up with a title that explains anything about it. And lo, there was high-fiving and bonuses, and everyone went off golfing, and a confused, tricky-to-market game with an abstract name went out to the backyard with only a shotgun and an unclear ad campaign for company. And you know the rest.
Blur also released days apart from other similar titles, Split Second and Mod Nation Racers, as covered in strange, colorful PS3 games. All classics, but neither sold well. With a bad schedule, Blur also fully animated a story mode, then removed it.
This is now the #1 ticket to the #1 party in the new Obama Nation.
Leaked online are over 25 minutes of cutscenes, with some still missing or without sound. There's notable voice actors like Nolan North and Yuri Lowenthal here, yet why was it deleted? Supposedly, Activision wanted players to focus on multiplayer and not waste time finishing the story.
Man up, will you?
Funny! I don't see any men around here!
Wait a minute, is he coming on to me?
Come on down to the docks. Got some real action down there.
Oh my god, he is coming on to me.
Even called in a few favors. No one's gonna see nothing.
It also turns out Blur does have music, but by default, you have to turn it on in the options menu. Why spend money on licensed tracks only to hide them? Well, I think it might be due to the social media integration. You know how consoles now have a dedicated share button on the controller? Well, Blur in 2010 was one of the earliest to have those options within the software. Even the aesthetic has you gaining XP points that are rebranded as followers. Early concepts showed the game brainstormed a Mad Max apocalyptic style until settling for the neon club look. These mock-ups had plans for an entire in-game Facebook or racebook, NPCs and players messaging each other, forming groups, documenting stats, and story events via text posts. But maybe it was too ambitious, or they just didn't want to befriend whoever this guy is. Wait, it's that guy! The one that did the bad thing, you remember.
But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
I'm sure he's changed as a person by now. So there is no racebook, though they did keep this glossy interface the early iPhones were doing. The menu is clearly inspired by Apple's CoverFlow system. Thank God this game did not come out years later. So, you did a good job driving. How about bragging on Facebook? It's free marketing. This was the future, which is why I theorized the music was hidden due to fear of copyright strikes. But like me running a red light, hesitation is not an option. Ruined by marketing and timing, Blur deserved way better. After release, developer Bizarre Creations made the failed 007 Bloodstone, then shut down. Before closing, there were plans for the unfinished Blur 2. This time it's got this daytime, Fruitigo Arrow aesthetic. Kinda. Now you can drive on walls, leaving behind the realistic car physics. This could have fixed some of my few issues I had with the original, as it was painfully stiff and the locations all kinda look the same. Oh well. Thanks to the licensed songs and car brands, Blur 1 has been delisted off Steam and is stuck on old consoles. Though, you can Google a Blur Discord group where fans keep the online servers alive. It's all we got.
almost had a heart attack there.
Operator! 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 Operator!
Where is the key?
Welcome to the amazing world of Xbox 360.
She's got to stick the dismount.